welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. In today's headlines, as summer is a season prone to fire disasters, Thailand Tzu Chi volunteers are tending to fire victims in Bangkok. To support the local food bank, Tzu Chi volunteers in California of the United States are helping to assemble 5-day worth of food packages for senior residents. And in our feature report on Taiwan's fading trades, we go to Zhanghua's Lugang to meet 66-year-old Shi Zhenyang, a master in wood carving. We begin today's show on the topic of fire disasters that tend to occur more frequently in summer. In Bangkok, Thailand, on 3 different occasions, fire ravaged through 3 communities in early July and left more than 10 families homeless. After surveying the disaster scene, Tzu Chi volunteers prepared aid supplies to distribute to those in need and also promised to accompany the victims on the path to recovery. Here's more.
A fire in the Wat Yat-si Suphan community of Bangkok, Thailand, blazed through 6 houses and left 12 families homeless. Tzu Chi volunteers arrived on scene to offer words of encouragement and relief aid.
I yelled a lot during the fire and lost my voice. It's devastating as I have no one to rely on. I'm very grateful for Tzu Chi for helping us.
When I first saw Tzu Chi helping out tsunami victims in southern Thailand, I never thought that my community would be on the receiving end of Tzu Chi's help. I admire Tzu Chi's selfless ways.
A fire also broke out in the community of Dusi Taram. One resident not only lost her home, but her place of business as well. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived to offer kind words during this difficult time.
Seeing the volunteers makes me happy. Although my house is gone, but I still have your emotional support and care.
In 2 days, Bangkok Tzu Chi volunteers rushed to 3 different disaster sites. Besides distributing aid to residents, they also brought words of encouragement.
The fire happened suddenly. I panicked. I grabbed nothing, but today Tzu Chi volunteers came, making me feel I'm not so alone.
Reciprocating in donations, residents and volunteers will work together, hands in hand, in rebuilding their community.
Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers held 2 community gatherings at Wang'an Township in Penghu, Taiwan. Since many in the area lack knowledge of environmental protection, Tzu Chi volunteers hope to educate them through sharing their experiences. The event was not only attended by local residents, but also Liao Ziming, who is the head of Wang'an Police Station. He said he will start practicing recycling at home and also introduce this concept into his workplace.
Today, 31 Tzu Chi volunteers from Ma Gong, Penghu arrived at Wang'an Township to hold their first community get-together in the area. The volunteers also took time to measure seniors' blood pressure and chat with them.
In the old days, people say that we are one big family, because we will live under the same sky. Now, with Tzu Chi helping the needy around the world, we have to keep this love going.
Explaining the recycling process in detail and showing a blanket made from recycled bottles, Tzu Chi volunteers hope to educate the local residents on the importance of recycling.
We are glad that Tzu Chi is here to educate us on how to recycle, because we don't get enough information about it over here.
Today, volunteers from Tzu Chi Policemen's Welfare Association also arrived in Penghu after being informed that the police head of Wang'an Station wanted to promote Tzu Chi's philosophy in his workplace.
I'm willing to embrace Master Chen Yan's philosophy and start to practice recycling in our Wang'an Station.
To become a bodhisattva, it is not just about praying. You have to incorporate the teachings into your life.
能消除烦恼就是慧。
The volunteers also measure several police officers' blood pressure because taking care of their health is just as important as protecting the environment.
Moving to the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers Tzu Qings and Tzu Shaos from Cerritos near Los Angeles of California came together at the end of June to help the Orange County Food Bank assemble 5-day worth of food packages for 1,000 senior residents. While packing the meals, Tzu Chi volunteers met a young couple who brought their son to celebrate his birthday by giving to the needy.
Corn and green beans. Green bean one right here.
The food bank staff personally shows how to fill the packages so as much food as possible can be put inside. Volunteers were from 3 different organizations, including 15 volunteers from Tzu Chi. The 15 people are composed of Tzu Qings, Tzu Shaos, and Tzu Chi volunteers. The Orange County Food Bank is expected to assemble 5 days' worth of food packages for 1,000 people. And even though the packages are not light in weight, everyone is happily lending a hand. In the middle of this all is young baby Tanner, whose parents also volunteered to help out on the day of their son's birthday.
We really want to be here because I believe that birthdays are about celebrating life. And what better way to celebrate life than helping other people improve their lives? So we're here and we're having so much fun. Tanner's loving looking around at all of the people working, and it's been hard work, but it's really fun to see everybody here together and having a fun time helping others.
Though nobody in this room ever experienced the distress of hunger, everybody is willing to imagine how difficult it is to live without food to eat and have decided to help as much as they can in order to spread the love.
In its 20th year of establishment, some 2,000 Tzu Qings can be currently found in 15 countries around the globe. In the recent years, these youth volunteers have also played an important role in promoting the organization's missions. Despite shouldering the great responsibility of spreading the seeds of love to every corner of society, Tzu Qings have never found it difficult, but rather appreciate the chance to learn and give. Let's hear from these overseas youth volunteers and the wisdom they have gained since joining Tzu Chi.
I hope that more young people will get to know or try to get to know Tzu Chi.
We hope to attract more Japanese youth to join us.
I am very determined to walk the Tzu Chi path.
At our 20th anniversary, we need to invite more people to join Tzu Qing.
Let us take on that sense of responsibility and make the world a better place.
Despite coming from different countries and living in different cities, these youth volunteers share the same passion for the Tzu Qing organization. As Tzu Chi is stepping out to international relief work, Tzu Qings can also be found in some 15 countries worldwide. Work may vary in different nations, but Tzu Qings are an essential part of Tzu Chi in spreading the great love to the needy.
In the United States, where the age group of our volunteers is a lot younger than before, Tzu Qing are also participating in more events. From only taking on assistant roles, many now took part in the organizing of the Buddha Day ceremony or other celebrations, and as always, they managed to come up with creative and new ideas.
Our Tzu Qings are brought up in the local culture, but at the same time, they are also nurtured in Tzu Chi's humanitarian culture. That combination can actually help us actively promote our organization.
Young in age and creative in mind is what is prompting Tzu Qings to become important coordinators in promoting Tzu Chi's work far and wide. In Singapore, these youth volunteers funded a vegetarian campaign, and the US Tzu Qings also organized a trip to South Africa to bring love to needy children.
Tzu Chings are here with a heart to reciprocate, and we only hope to help our Tzu Chi uncles and aunties a little more.
It is a rare opportunity to be able to help these disaster victims. I think it is really worthwhile coming here to give a little of my love.
I'm quite nervous. It doesn't matter how many times I have been at a distribution because it is our first in every region. And we have no idea what it will be like. So I am normally more nervous on the first day.
With limited human resource, overseas Tzu Chi volunteers and Tzu Chings are often required to multitask in events. For these young adults who are fluent in English, they also shoulder the responsibility of spreading the seeds of love to local residents.
Tzu Chi is mostly Chinese, so when we go to school and we advertise, it's really hard because mostly all our language stuff is all in Chinese here. So it's very important to now use English in the public so we can grab them more to volunteer with us.
The Chinese community in South Africa is now slowly moving back to Taiwan or relocating to other countries. So we have fewer people here. We are involving local volunteers because only when we do so are we able to pass on Tzu Chi's missions.
Tzu Chings are said to be the future hope of Tzu Chi, and it is particularly true in the overseas chapters, as many either join the volunteers rank or devote themselves to working for the foundation after they graduate from university.
With the disorder of the mind, we really need more young people to join us in promoting a sense of purity in society.
I really hope that more local residents will join us in Tzu Chi's missions.
Overseas Tzu Chings all hope to take in the local culture and bring our organization to an international level so that we may attract more young people to join us in making a difference.
To celebrate the 20th anniversary of Tzu Chi Collegiate Youth Association, Tzu Chings in 13 different countries came together to collect and sort garbage at their local recycling stations. On July 15th, Tzu Chings in the United Kingdom visited Heaton Park to pick up garbage left behind after a music concert. The event was also joined by an Olympic champion from Jordan. Meanwhile, also doing their part for the planet are Tzu Chings in Vancouver, Canada, who for the past 15 years have been cleaning up the streets around the city. This time they also participated in the Marathon Recycling Day in spite of the poor weather conditions. Let's take a look.
As part of the Marathon Recycling Day, Tzu Chings in Vancouver are ready to clean up the streets regardless of the weather conditions.
From the past 15 years, every summer from May to September, Tzu Chings have been cleaning up the street with our Tzu Chi aunts and uncles.
Thanks to the Tzu Chings and volunteers, the streets of Vancouver's Chinatown slowly have become cleaner. The Tzu Chings promise to continue their good work to make our planet a cleaner place. Meanwhile, Tzu Chings in England are also doing their share to safeguard our planet by picking up trash inside Heaton Park. The event was also joined by a 4-year-old.
Yes, very good.
Under the guidance of his coach, Chen Qiuhua, who is also a Tzu Chi volunteer, an Olympic champion from Jordan, also participated in the event. Seeing a slug drown in a beer can, Chen's heart is stirred.
I am thankful to the Master for saving my spiritual life.
Walking in Gator Bridge Park with their bright colored vests, this group of Tzu Chings drew a lot of attention from the passers-by. The Tzu Chings took the opportunity to introduce Tzu Chi.
They give us all the bins and what have you to make sure that we recycle everything. It's amazing what they do recycle, actually.
We introduced Tzu Chi to him, and he said he's really grateful that we are doing something to protect our planet.
The Tzu Chings also searched through trash cans to pick up items that could be recycled.
The park is really, really clean compared to my country, my hometown. And it's really meaningful because I get to help the world to keep the environment clean.
If we walk close to the park, we see that there is still garbage, that we didn't notice that there is still much trash that we can pick up.
Whether it is in Canada, England, or worldwide, with the help from Tzu Qing's, our planet has become a cleaner place.
In our continuing series on Taiwan sunset industries, today we are taking you to Zhanghua's Lugang to meet Si Zhenyang. Master Si began learning the secret of wood carving by his father's side when he was just 11. By the time he was 25, he was already being commissioned by temples to help with restoration or new projects. In the years following, Master Si has helped renovate or create wooden carvings at countless temples. In addition, on top of the 8-hour workdays, Si Zhenyang also teach wood carving at 2 universities. Today, in order to pass on his skills to the next generation. Here at Si Zhenyang's workshop, different pieces of wood can be found everywhere. After a moment's thought, Si picks out a nondescript piece for his next project. With chalk and ink, he then outlines the design.
I work according to the natural shape of the wood. For example, this area is already quite beautiful. As well, the lines in the wood and its indentations and protrusions, I try to work with them as much as possible.
His right hand gripping a 4-kilo mallet, and in his left, Master Si will use nearly a dozen different types of chisels.
I prepare ahead of time about a dozen different chisels. They can be divided into 3 groups: flat, hard inner side, and round head. Each one does a specific job very well.
Although Si is a master at using his tools, 50 years in the trade has led to various injuries to his hands and fingers. The most prominent being his right index finger.
They have all been injured. When you play with knives, the knives also play with you.
66-year-old Si Zhenyang, now with white hair and falling eyesight, has given his whole life to wood carving.
None of my works have been sandpapered. Each cut is a result of work with my chisel. This is one of the unique areas of my artworks.
In his work, the art of books, painting, and carving become one. Master Si has also added new ideas and new materials to the mix.
Traditional wood carving does not use color. This piece I painted using a mineral-based color. This was a good example of how I am constantly searching for innovation within a traditional framework.
Here at Lugang's Cenghuang Temple, all the carved beams and columns, as well as the carvings in the front of the main entrance, are done by Master Si. As an advisor to the Cultural Resources Protection Society, Si does his best to protect and preserve historical landmarks.
In the old photos in Lugang City Hall, I copied the carvings I saw there.
From when he was young, he was always hanging around temples. So when he started doing wood carving, he had deep respect for the culture enshrined in temples, which brought together Lugang's early cultural heritage with the heyday of woodworking and helped record our religious history.
Stories of loyalty, virtue, and righteousness, among other sources of traditional culture, can all be found in Master Si's works. At 11, he began studying carving with his father. At 25, he worked on a cloud dragon carving at the Zhenlan Temple in Dajiang. At 40, he began to pass down his skills.
In that day and age, skills were only passed on to sons. But now when I pass away, I can't take those skills with me. So I have decided to try to teach and guide others and expand the horizons of this art.
Thanks to Master Si's skills and willingness to share, an art that is almost on the verge of extinction can continue on. Tzu Chi volunteers around the globe are not only working together to promote conservation work, but they also share the benefits of vegetarianism with others in hopes of inspiring people to take on the meatless diet. In Malaysia, 78 children at the Kuala Lumpur Da'ai Educare Centre are vowing to take on a vegetarian diet to save the planet. Teachers also held an event in order to give 120 parents the right information about vegetarianism. Let's take a look.
The teachers at Malaysia Kuala Lumpur's Da'ai Educare Centre are promoting vegetarianism saves the earth, and to this end are teaching 120 parents how to go meatless and eat healthy.
The teachers taught us eating vegetables can protect our body, protect life, protect animals, and protect the earth. I want to continue eating vegetables. I will eat more vegetables and fruits.
The children are very pure. They have a very compassionate heart. For example, when the teachers ask them who ate a vegetarian meal yesterday, they will say, "I don't want to kill animals, but my parents tell me to eat fish. My mom and dad would tell me to eat meat." We are informing parents so the children can be healthy, have a clean earth to live in, and learn to respect life.
At Petaling Jaya's Jingsi Books and Cafe, pediatric health specialist Dr. Chen Cheng-heng shares his knowledge of how to increase children's intelligence and immune systems through vegetarianism.
Besides protein in meat, everything else like iron, calcium, magnesium are missing. When you take a 500-calorie meat dish and compare it to a 500-calorie vegetable dish, you will find that the vegetable dish is superior in terms of nutrients. Many people are worried about pesticides, but what they don't realize is that there are pesticides in meat too.
I was afraid that children, when they are growing up, would be adversely affected. And I understand that I don't need to be afraid of getting not enough nutrients when going meatless.
Kids are a white slate. What you give them to eat, they will accept it. It's actually a challenge for me, as I need to set a good example.
By establishing a healthy vegetarian diet when young, we can all contribute to protecting our planet.
At the end of our program today, we go to China's Fujian province. Yakou Beach in the city of Jinjiang is a classified national tourist scenic spot. Despite the beautiful scenery it offers, a huge amount of garbage are always left behind by the tourists. Tzu Chi volunteers regularly carry out clean-ups to clear the rubbish and also promote recycling concepts to local residents. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining in. Goodbye.